Let's take a walk through Reciprofity. First, click on the gear in the upper right. Then click on Setup. We've preloaded many of these sections for you, but you can always add and delete as you want. Allergens will be associated with ingredients and then displayed for any recipes using those ingredients. Categories let you sort and filter, as well as create food cost percentages. Supergroups and groups are for sorting and reporting. Supergroups associate with your general ledger categories if you'd like. Groups are subsets of supergroups. And you'll add your vendors either here in Setup or on the fly as you add ingredients. On the upper left is your main menu. You can access it from anywhere in the software. Now let's add ingredients. You can do it by uploading order guides or entering ingredients manually. Let's start by adding one ingredient manually. How about butter? As you type in the ingredient name, we will look for a USDA nutrition code match to use later for your nutrition label. And if there is a Book of Yields conversion, we'll add that too. Conversions are very powerful, and the Book of Yields is an amazing tool with yields and preps for over 1,000 raw ingredients. Let me point out the tooltips. They are super helpful in learning what each field or section does. You'll also notice that there's no pricing yet in conversion. That's because we have not entered any purchasing information for butter yet. Now let's add the vendor name, which you can easily do on the fly here, and an item code, and then we'll move on to purchasing information. While you can easily fill in your own purchasing information, we also offer you a template to help you fill in those fields. Here we'll search on butter, and we do have a template. Feel free to change any of the fields if you purchase this item in a different way. For example, how many of this item you purchase, or a different pack size or description. Here we'll change 2 fields to demonstrate. Once you have an as purchased price, we display the pricing by pack size as well. Now, click Save at the top of the screen. Click Save, which is like a refresh button, and you'll see pricing in the conversion section. Book of Yields has both weight to volume and volume to weight conversions for butter. You can also add your own conversions if you'd like. This little icon lets you know that there is a Book of Yields chef note about this ingredient. If you buy this item from multiple vendors or from the same vendor in a different pack size, you can add another product. Click the Add Product button and add as many products as you like. Once you have ingredients entered, you can locate them in the Inventory Manager grid. Clicking Save and Close brings you to Inventory Manager. Clicking on the ingredient name will bring you to View mode. You can see the pricing for each product in green with a pack size price too. If you have multiple products, you can compare pricing easily on this screen. Now let's enter some more ingredients by uploading vendor order guides. Click on the left side menu and choose Order Guides. Either add or find your vendor name. Then click the Templates field and see if your vendor is on the list. In this case, it's Cisco, and we do have an eCisco format. Choose your order guide and click Continue. You'll see the order guide ready to be imported. Double check that the fields are correct, the item name, code, purchase price, and how it's packed. Then you can check any of the items you want to import or check all. We'll upload the file and import your order guide. By the way, if you have an order guide in Excel format, we can do that too. We'll tackle that next. Your items are imported, but you can still undo it if things don't look right. To confirm that you're satisfied with the import, click on the blue link with the ingredient name. Check that the fields have imported correctly. If not, you can click Undo Import. If you are satisfied with the import, you can either upload another order guide or go to the dashboard. Let's talk about importing an order guide in Excel format. You'll find that option at the end of the Select Vendor Template pull-down. Click the big white question mark in the lower left. You may already see articles relating to your topic here. If not, just type in a keyword or phrase. Clicking on the link will display the entire article. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see a link to viewing the article in another window. That's a much easier way to read it. Let's look at Inventory Manager for a moment. If you have a large screen, you'll see the grid in its entirety. If your screen is smaller, use the side and bottom scroll bar to see all the fields. This grid has many functions. You can edit ingredients here by clicking the blue Edit button all the way to the left and changing the fields that are open. In this example, we forgot to make butter part of the dairy group. And we forgot to add milk as an allergen. Since you can have multiple allergens, this pull-down does not close after selecting one. Just click outside the field when you've chosen. Super important! Remember to click the green checkbox to save any changes. Use the blank fields at the top to search. For example, search for ingredients by name. To clear the search and display all your ingredients, you can either click the X or click the Reset Grid button. You can also determine which columns to display. For example, remove the Create Date column by unchecking it. You can also filter by a particular group, vendor, or allergen. In addition, you can also sort each column alphabetically. So hurrah! You've got ingredients! Before you start entering recipes, take a few minutes and read more deeply about conversions. Conversions are about weight to volume or volume to weight conversions. If you purchase an item by weight but want to use it by volume in a recipe, here is where the Book of Yields will tell you both the conversion and the yield. A yield of less than 100% will change the cost of that ingredient and ripple through the cost of your recipes. And if it's not in the Book of Yields, you can still enter conversions manually. That's an incredibly powerful function. Now let's look at recipes. To add a recipe, click on the green New Recipe button. I'll show you an empty recipe screen, but let's also look at some already created recipes. We have several created recipes here. We'll use the search box to find a prep recipe for basmati rice. When you first choose a recipe, you'll see it in view mode. Click Edit to open it. Prep or batch recipes are those you make in larger quantities, which are then used in serving recipes. You have 3 recipe types: serving, prep, and menus. Remember those tool tips? They explain exactly what the fields are for. Categories allow you to sort and filter, and your primary category also lets you set a specific food cost percentage by that category. This tooltip links to an article describing why you would do that. You can also have as many additional categories as you'd like. Remember our butter ingredient? It has a milk allergen, which is now associated with this recipe. Let's add an ingredient, salt. We'll use 1 tablespoon and we'll choose granulated salt. It has a nutrition code, which we'll incorporate for use later in our nutrition label. Let's save and close this and clear the search box to reset our grid and display all our recipes. Let's find a salmon prep recipe. Here it is in view mode, and you can see this has 2 allergens, fish and milk. Let's click on the Edit button and view it in edit mode. Here, all our ingredients have USDA codes associated with them. If we scroll all the way down, we'll see our 2017 nutrient label. Scroll back up to the Method section. Click on Method, and it opens a section with word-like tools, so you can format your recipes to your liking. You can also include images. You can also scale your recipes. We'll not only scale, but we'll change the units of measure to the next largest. For instance, in this recipe, butter scales from 4 tablespoons to 1 cup. Once I'm done with the conversion, if I cancel out, it will revert to the original unit of measure unless I click Save. Now let's see a serving recipe that includes several prep recipes. This is butter roasted salmon with basmati rice and bok choy. It includes half a pound of fish, 1 cup of basmati rice, and half a cup of bok choy, and it costs $6.28. We sell it for $16.99. But what's with this red line of food cost percentage? Well, we want to hit a 35% food cost, and the red shows us we're not quite there. We're at 37%. We can either tweak our recipe or up our selling price. So let's up our selling price. Serving recipes include a pricing section. You set a target food cost percentage either in Setup, Options for a global food cost percentage, or by category to be more specific about meal type. Now you can compare the actual versus target and change the selling price to bring your food cost percentage more in line with your target. Let's take a quick look at how you can set your food cost percentage by using the optimizer. Click on Set Food Cost Percentage or Margin Percentage. This is how you set a global food cost or margin percentage. In this case, we've set it to 30%. This is what we'll use for your recipes. But if you want to get more granular and more specific, you can set a food cost or margin percentage by category and use this as the primary category for your recipes. So any entree recipe that has a primary category of entree will use 35%. And any appetizer that has appetizer as a primary category will have a 15% target food cost. There are many other things you can do with the optimizer. You can add USDA codes to ingredients that are missing it. You can merge ingredients if you buy the same product from multiple vendors or the same product packed in different pack sizes from the same vendor. And you can also merge groups. This is a great way to keep your groups tight and tidy. Now we just have a few more tips for you, and then we'll get you going on your own. From either Recipe Manager or Inventory Manager, you can drag and drop column headings so that you can sort and display information in different ways. Here we've sorted by type and within type by primary category. You can print or export what you view on the screen by clicking the Print button. In addition, clicking Tools will get you to the Recipe Analyzer. This will show you what recipes are in and out of the money. And remember, you can sort by any columns you choose. We've given you a lot to think about, but we've also given you a lot of tools, like the tool tips and access to our knowledge base using the big white question mark on the bottom. Now go get 'em, Tiger!